Are we going live? I think we're live. Oh, the system's so slow. Hey, good morning. It's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum. We haven't been here in a while, right? I just noticed the last time we went live was in July. It's now August 7th. And been out and about doing a lot of things over the past couple of weeks. So last week I was at a Weeblows camping trip, and I usually don't post when I'm out of town and stuff like that. So sorry about that. And I don't pre-announce, but I wanted to record, but I ran out of time, to be honest with you. Anyway, it's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Happy to be back. I hope you've done well and kept things going out there in the world. I know you all did. And I'm just giving you little tidbits of things, experiences I have. And I'm going to share a lot of things from the scouting camp, what I saw. I put some posts up there and LinkedIn and things like that. But I'm going to talk about how some of the activities do apply to being agile. It was very interesting watching scouts who are, between 10 and 18, learning about servant leadership and what they can do and how it really applies and what they're doing. So I'll talk about that as we go. But today I want to talk about measuring productivity, getting tired, right? And I actually experimented on this one of the other leaders in the camp. So I'll share that too later. But, I was doing some stuff, measuring how effectively, how many I get done per hour. And then later on one night, I was doing the same thing and realized there's a big difference. So we're going to talk about that today. Today is Metric Monday. I am Greg Mester, Scrum Master and Agile Coach, and this is the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way to bring value to your customer, not work that crazy hours, which we're going to talk about today, and have a little fun along the way to bring that value. So, Metric Monday. There's all kind of metrics, and we could and I do talk about velocity and different metrics that you can do to measure a team. But I want to talk about something a little more practical, more tactical, something you can work with your team on, having them kind of figure out where they're the most productive. And here's a little experiment I did that you can share with your team and have them come up. Because remember, we're trying to build self-organized teams here. It's not always about the Scrum Master or Agile Coach telling people how to measure themselves. It's about the self-organization. So one of the things is I measured how effective I was. A friend of mine had a website and they hadn't updated in months. And I'm like, okay, I'm jamming out posts that hasn't been there. And I was timing myself how many posts I can do an hour for their website, get it up to date, try to get it up to speed. And I was tracking that number. Then later that night, I wanted to go back in, but I was a little tired, to be honest with you. I was getting, I'm up at 5 a.m. in the morning. Come 10 o'clock, I'm kind of like shot, right? If I'm not sleeping by 9:30, 10 o'clock, it's bad. So one of the things I measured, I realized that when I was tired, I was probably about a quarter the speed, if not a third, somewhere a quarter of speed, productive as I was during the day when I was wide awake, up on coffee, drank my, exercise, did all my things to get the body moving and the mind moving. And I noticed there was a big drop off. Now, my question for you, is it more valuable to get those couple extra in? Let's say it's, I'm going to go round number. Let's say it's a quarter of what you normally do. So you're 25%, right? Oh, we got a comment already. Boy. Great. So, and I'll show. So he says, great. When you try to do so much work and let's say you're spending an hour in the evening and you're only getting one done, but an hour during the day, you're getting 4 done. I'm just giving it a number, simple number. I got a lot more than that done, but let's say there was only 4, you get 4 done a day. Is it more valuable to go to sleep or rest or prep or do something that doesn't take the mental power, get ready for the next day, whatever, than it does to try to get that extra little post out, that extra little job out? And my argument, it doesn't make any sense. If you're tired, go to bed, right? Because you're not going to be productive. You're going to spend hours but those hours you spend aren't going to produce value to you or your business or your company or whatever you're doing. And what I'm going to suggest here is with your team, get them to think about during the day, have a metric, just suggest, you're not telling them to do it. It's just like, look, as you're doing your stuff, come up with some metric that you have to measure your effectiveness for yourself. You don't have to share with anybody on the team, whatever you feel tells you how you're being effective. Look at it in the morning, before lunch. Look at it in the afternoon after lunch. And if you ever decide to go online in the evening when you're just to make up some stuff, see what those three different numbers are. Because if it, I mean, one, I would tell people don't do it at night before you go to bed because you're going to make a mistake and your quality is going to go down. We're going to have a bug and blah, blah, blah. Some people say they're night owls. Maybe they are. But if you have the metric, you can establish that. The other thing is then you can adjust your meetings and when you do things. If people are more productive early in the morning than they are in the evening, maybe you don't have as many group meetings during that morning session. Maybe you do them in the afternoon. Maybe in the morning you do have your group session, then the afternoon after lunch, though. I can see after lunch a lot of people start taking naps. And I gotta share that with you. I did get a merit badge. Maybe I'll share it with you tomorrow when I did my camping. So now, listen to what I'm saying here. So they can do their measurements, they can figure it out, find out when they're most productive. You don't have to make it formalized, right? Just suggest and this is from your own study. Like I studied myself. It's great when you do something and you go to your team, hey, last night, I was measuring how effective I was during the day doing the things and then during the evening, and I found out I was like 25% effective. Maybe if you all think you want to do it, take a look at that because I want to make sure I'm getting the most value for my time. Is it more valuable to put the kids to sleep, and do all that? Or is it more valuable or to watch a TV show, right? Right. You can watch a TV show at night. Now, where I did this during the camping, there was another leader, a parent that was at the site, and he brought his laptop. There was a few that brought their laptop. I'm like, why are you doing this? You're not going to be very effective. So, me, I'm always talking about effectiveness and doing your time and why are you doing this. So they were working on stuff. And I was watching him the whole time. And as he was typing stuff in, he kept getting interrupted with the kids and starting and stopping. And we had a busy day. I mean, it was busy for these kids, to be honest with you. Very busy. A little more busy than I would have did from an agile perspective, from a bandwidth perspective. But they got a lot of stuff done. Not as quality as maybe they could have, but they got some stuff done. And every time I saw him, I told my story about working at night being less effective. And later on the week, he's reciting, about that conversation we had about productivity. Yeah, my productivity was squat on the last couple of days where he was exhausted. He would get the computer turned on, get in there, logged in, do some stuff. And, maybe got one line of code done or whatever he was doing some calculations with spreadsheets and doing some stuff for HR. And he was doing some stuff. And he's like, yeah, I promise this. I was like, but you're in a campsite in the middle of nowhere. How effective can you really be? I mean, really, seriously. So he would log in, type away, do some coding, not get very far before one of the kids was like, oh, we got to do next thing. What's next? So what they normally would have got done in an hour, about 25% between turning on the computer, getting up, typing in, and then logging off the computer. In the end, set up downtime, right? That's the tooling thing. It wasn't very effective. And he admitted it. And one of those things, as you mature and get how effective you're going to be. You're not going to be there. And when people make these promises when they're on vacation and stuff, yeah, it's not going to happen. Maybe a quarter. But I wanted to share that with you because I want you to, if you do, share these stories, experience them for yourself, test it on yourself so that you come away to your team as someone who's done and experienced it. They appreciate that more. They may not catch on it like first, but they will get it after time because you planted that thought. Measure yourself during the day. Then measure yourself in evening if you think you're going to catch up on the work, if you're going to say you're going to do some stuff. Because I find myself a lot of times, I'll be like, I'm going to get this, and this done. And on a weekend, family, kids, whatever, interruptions, friends want to take you out, go out and do some things. I don't have that. I'm old part now. But, I have the kids and the family and we want to do stuff. That all takes away from that ability. So I wanted that on this metric Monday. Measure yourself, measure productivity during when you're highly productive. And then say, hey, one night I'm going to measure how effective I am when I'm not that productive or when I'm tired, and really give you a baseline to make these good choices. What brings you more value, more joy in your life? Is it at night putting a couple more posts up on social media for someone's website or for job, or crunching a couple more numbers, which you could make mistakes because you're tired? Or is you better off just closing up the laptop, putting it to sleep? You got to make them go to sleep sometimes. And then go to sleep yourself, being refreshed and more energized the next day. Get some exercise and get up early in the morning and do those things and be ahead of the curve. So I wanted to share that on this Metric Monday. It's a little bit different, but it's something I realized that I wanted to share that you can do as an Agile coach or Scrum Master and bring that personal knowledge experience to the team. And maybe that'll make them a little more productive, right? Maybe they won't promise that little bit. Oh, I'll get all this stuff. And maybe they're like, you know what? I'll be lucky if I get 25% done, tonight, this afternoon, based on doctor's appointment, kids' appointments, whatever you're doing, social stuff, supporting the community, whatever those things are that you're doing during the day. And I think you're going to catch back up in the evening. Yeah, mate, but you're only going to get like 25%, maybe 30% max effectiveness in the evening because you're tired. And again, just like that one gentleman who brought his laptop to camping. And in the end, how effective was he, right? You get these gaps, these breaks. Okay, I got a break. You're better off taking a book and just reading a book and go to sleep, there's certain things you're productive in. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe something will go in the gray matter. So before you go to bed, instead of picking up that laptop to do that last little equation, do that last little coding, unless you really have a amazing thought process on how to solution it, why don't you just pick up a book, right? Go read a book. That will add more value to what you do than writing that extra line of code when you're tired, when you're going through things that you're on vacation, jumping around. You're better off just picking a book, learning a new thing that you can share with your coworkers and make yourself a better person. Anyway, it's the end of the show. We're heading out of here. Eddie's coming to get me. You coming in, Ed? What are you doing? There he is, Mr. Toothless. So you all have a great day. Happy scrumming. We'll see you tomorrow. We're back on or back up. I was getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I don't know if you all saw, I did the prank on the troop leader's site. I TP'd her tent. Well, I did a little bit. It wasn't a major prank. One kid said, well, that's not a very dangerous prank. I'm like, I wasn't trying to be dangerous. I was just trying to be silly. So take care, everyone. Remember, do a little metric. Measure yourself during the day when you're really productive. And then see how productive you are in the evening. Take that piece of data. Is it worth doing that extra data when you're tired? More quality issues, more mistakes. And if you're only at 25%, 30%, you're better off reading a book. Saying it. You're more productive. You get 4 times, 5 times more stuff done during the day and spend that real quality hours than you will in the evening when you're exhausted and tired. So think about it, measure it. I would love to hear what kind of results everyone gets. So with that, take care, everyone, and see you tomorrow.